find yourself continually disappointed in friendships, if you feel as though your friends are not supporting you in the way that you want them to support you, if you feel as though you expect more from your friends and they're just not meeting that expectation, or you just feel as though, why can't I ever get friendships right? Like, what is going wrong in my friendships? They're not supporting me, they're not showing up for me, I feel like I'm giving more than I'm getting back. If you feel like this, then this video is for you. This video is going to teach you how to categorize your friends. It's going to teach you how to not be disappointed in friendships through the steps I'm about to share with you. Many times we do not properly categorize our friends, therefore we expect more from them than they are able to actually give us. Had we have realized where we were meant to place them in our lives, then we wouldn't feel disappointed when they don't show up in a certain area. Friends change within time. Like, just because they started off in a category doesn't mean they're meant to remain there. Just because you need something, it doesn't mean that friend is able to give you that. This video is going to help you to acknowledge, one, how to categorize your friends in places where they're meant to be in your life so that you're not disappointed when they don't show up for you. And two, after this video, you're going to be able to recognize whether you've been categorizing your friends wrongly, therefore leading to disappointment when they don't show up. And three, it's going to help you how to be self-sufficient when you feel as though your friends are not showing up for you in the way you need them to be. Because it's not necessarily that you need to cut off your friends or that it's time for you to let them go, but sometimes it's time for you to set a boundary, and it's time for you to wake up and realize this friend doesn't belong in such close proximity of me. And it's not necessarily that they may be intentionally disappointing you, but perhaps you've been expecting too much of them than they can give, and that's okay. But sometimes we just don't realize. Maybe they've been showing up for us in a certain way and all of a sudden they stopped, and you haven't realized it's time to move them to another category. In our lives, we meet people at different stages of our lives. We first meet people in our family home, whether that be cousins, close family friends. We go into school, we meet school friends. We go into college, we meet college friends. We go to university, we meet university friends. We go into the workplace, we meet work friends. We meet friends in parties. We've got friends from different walks of life, and they all play a different role in our lives. Sometimes we meet them and we instantly click and we become best friends. Sometimes we've known them since childhood and they're our closest friend. We've known each other the longest, and there's a certain level of loyalty that is expected from them. Sometimes you meet people in a workplace and you become work friends. Sometimes you meet friends in church, your church friends. Doesn't matter where you meet people, people are still people, and they can't be what you want them to be. You have to accept them for who you are and put them where they're meant to be in your life. For example, some of you are watching me now and you have old school friends and you think that they've changed up. You're not close anymore. You need them to show up and they're not showing up for you. You see, the thing about that is, although you have every right to feel disappointed, you have to make a decision. Okay, I've acknowledged that you're not showing up for me. I want you to show up for me. I've voiced it and you're still not hearing me. And some of us haven't voiced that. Some of us haven't had the honest conversation with people in our lives about how we feel about our relationship with them. If you feel as though friends are disappointing you, you feel as though you're not connecting as you once did, you feel as though it's not the same, have an honest conversation with them. Let them know how you feel. Stop shying away from that, because that's how relationships crumble. We refuse to speak how we feel. We refuse to be open with that person. We refuse to let them know that I'm hurt or I'm hurting, I need help. Sometimes people can't see the signs. To them, they could think that it's all okay, but to us, we're thinking, can you not see that this is not okay? Maybe they just can't, and you have to be able to be mature enough to speak to them. But if you hold all your feelings in and you don't say how you feel and you just expect them to know, and you get ignorant and say, well, I'm going to cut you off because you're not doing this and this and this, then ultimately you're not allowing progress to happen. You're instead just cutting it off at the root, and then you're going to find yourself in these situations where you're not speaking up. And I'm not blaming you, but I'm saying you also have your role to play. If someone is disappointing you, you need to voice that. But you also need to know when it's time to just let them go. Because I also acknowledge sometimes it's not words that can help. Sometimes it's action. Sometimes you need to distance yourself and give yourself breathing room and decide, am I meant to carry on this friendship or am I meant to let it go? We hold on to people a lot. We hold on to people a lot. We have friends from primary school, we have friends from elementary school, middle school, secondary school, high school, and university, and we try and keep them because we've known them the longest. And it's so hard to think that, oh, I might have to let you go because you're no longer good for me. Because not everyone is meant to come with you to the top. Some people are meant to just take you to certain levels, accompany you certain ways, and then stop there. Sometimes you're meant to leave them, and you have to be able to acknowledge that. But before you make that step, you also have to acknowledge, have I categorized my friends correctly? Sometimes we expect too much of people and then we get disappointed when they don't show up. Maybe you're going through financial trouble and you ask someone, oh, could you lend me this? And they say, oh, unfortunately I can't. And you feel disappointed. That was never your friend that you could rely on in that area. Like, that's not a friend you can rely on financially, and you should have been able to acknowledge that from the jump. Okay, sometimes we just expect people to give back to us what we give them, but that's when we go wrong. We need to set a boundary. What are you for in my life? Everyone that comes into your life, you need to analyze, what do they give in your life? How do they serve you? How do you lot work? What friendship is this? You don't just box everyone into the same friendship. You categorize your friends. This is my work friend. We are friends at work, okay? It's not really that personal, it's not really that deep, but we're friends at work. We can banter and stuff. Maybe we can go for a dinner, this, that, and the other, but we ultimately are not best friends. So I'm not going to treat her and expect best friend treatment from her when she's not at that level. The same with school friends. School friends are your friends. When they disappoint you, it hurts deep because they've known you the longest, but then you also have to realize you've grown up. It's okay if you don't connect anymore. It doesn't diminish your friendship. It just means you have to acknowledge that and welcome that. Maybe they may not get where you're coming from because they are not experiencing this part of your life with you. You've experienced a lot of stuff together, but now it's separate. Now you're not experiencing the same stuff, so they may not get it. You have to be able to understand that, and you have to decide, am I still willing to work through this and still keep this relationship, rather than being just disappointed that you don't get me, or I just feel like we're not close enough. But it's okay. You've known each other for a long period of time. You've got that history, and you still want to keep the friendship going. You just have to work a little bit harder because they just may not be as close to you or as understanding now, because you have different experiences, therefore different viewpoints. Work friends are people that you just socialize with in work hours, sometimes outside of work hours, but they are not your best friends unless you both mutually agree to that. Stop putting someone in a best friend bracket that they haven't put you in. Sometimes you meet friends. I don't party, I don't club, I don't do any of that, but sometimes you may meet someone that are just party friends, just clubbing friends, okay? You are trying to make your clubbing friend your emotional support system. Like, you're joking. They should not know any intimate details about you. That's your socializing friend. It doesn't mean that they're not your friend. It just means that this is not my friend that I can confide in. This is just a friend that if I want to go out or I want to just get out of the house, this is what my friend is for. And that's not a bad thing. It's just you acknowledging realistically what they are for. You see, that's the thing. When we try and use our socializing friend as our emotional support system, then we feel disappointed because why can't you show up for me in the same way Amber shows up for me? Like, Chloe is your friend that you go out with, and Amber is your friend that you can confide in, but you don't necessarily go out like that. You're disappointed in your friendships because you haven't correctly categorized your friendships. Amber, Chloe. Chloe is who you go out with. You don't necessarily share stuff with her like that because her advice isn't really that beneficial, or she can't understand where you're coming from, but you lot can have a good time. Amber understands where you're coming from. She gets it. So you expect her to show up for you. You've categorized her correctly. That is your emotional support system. This is your socialization. This is your work friend. This is your school friend. Like, you need to know where people lay in your life. Your school friend can also be your emotional support system, but you need to know that. You can't just expect things of people without knowing, can they live up to that expectation, okay? You may meet people at church and just think that automatically, yeah, we're going to be sisters. No, just because we're in church, it doesn't mean I want to be a sister. It doesn't mean I want to be close to you. I'm cordial with you. You're my sister in Christ. I love you. Hi, how are you doing? This and the other. But you have to be realistic. Are you equally yoked? Because just because you're in church does not mean you're equally yoked. It doesn't mean you can trust that person. And the moment I got that mindset where I expected less from certain friends, I was disappointed less. Sometimes we're disappointed too much because we're in friendships and we're expecting things that they can't live up to. And then you think, oh, you're not a real friend. They are a real friend, but in their own way. They're a real friend because that's your socializing friend, and in that way, they're real in that aspect. They may not be a real friend when it comes to supporting you emotionally because they've never known how to do that. You have to be able to know where your friends fall short, okay? You have to be able to look at someone, see who they really are, decide, am I going to accept this person? And once you accept them, accept all that comes with them. I know a thing or two about toxic friendships, bad friendships, friendships that disappoint me. I had a very close friend who I grew up with. I think I knew her since I was like 12 or 13, and we literally done like majority things together. Like, you know, you have those friendships where you literally do everything together. Like, I realized that I didn't properly categorize her. She was never my emotional support system because whenever I wanted to confide in her, she didn't care. Whenever I wanted to speak about how I felt, she did not care. In my head, I was thinking, what? Like, why don't you support me? But I didn't realize that was never my friend for support. That was my friend if I wanted to go out, if I wanted to socialize, if I wanted to smoke, if I wanted to drink, if I wanted to do everything but better myself. That was what she was for. But she was never a true friend in that regard, and I just didn't realize that. I didn't open my eyes. I didn't analyze her. I had to eventually let her go. because what I needed in my life was supportive friends, friends that would be there for me, friends that would love me, friends that would show up for me, and she couldn't do that. And I never held it against her because I realized she didn't even know how to be that friend. She didn't even know how to be that person. So how could I have expected that from her when she was never that person? She wanted that for herself, but she never had that to give. And so I decided to let her go. And she realized that she hadn't been a great friend, and she apologized. But I still didn't want her back in my life because she'd shown me everything that she had to show me. I decided to just let her go, and that was the best thing I'd done, because I didn't blame her for not showing up for me. I just decided that, Lakeishaa, whenever you have friends that come into your life, you need to categorize them instantly. Don't wait. And don't get twisted. Some people can grow into other categories, but you need to know. You need to know what people are for. In my life now, I've got friends that I can go on holiday with, I can go out with. Yeah, you're that friend. However, I would never confide in you because I don't trust you to that level. I don't believe that you can support me in that way. But I've also got friends that I can confide in. I confide in you. I tell you the deep things in my heart that I would never tell anyone else, because I trust you with that, because you give me good counsel. I may not necessarily go out with you and socialize with you like my other friends, but trust me, we have that level of relationship. I have work friends that I only socialize with you at work, but I'm never going to come and tell you my personal business and then be surprised when it gets gossiped around the whole workplace, because honestly, you was never that friend anyways. You're just a work friend. I socialize with you at work. I've got friends, like church friends. You're just my church friends. Trust me with that. You're never going to know anything personal about me because I don't trust you. I don't believe that you have earned the right to move to close friends. And until you do, I'm never going to put you there. I'm never going to make you be something that you're not. Okay? And I think that's one thing that we have to also get right. Stop pitting people in categories they don't belong in. Stop telling them all your secrets just because you need someone to confide in. You may not have anyone to confide in, and that's okay. But that doesn't mean you should create someone that you want to confide in. Just because there's no one for you to vent to, don't go and vent to Sally, because Sally doesn't care like that. Sally doesn't know how to support you. Sally, you haven't built that rapport with her. She is thinking, okay, I heard her, and she's giving you dismissive answers and you're surprised. Sally was never that friend that you can emotionally confide in. You have to wait until that person comes along. You may not have that right now. It doesn't mean you need to cut off everyone and say, oh, I've got all fake friends. No. You just don't have anyone that can give you what you want right now, but they can give you something else. So this video was to really help you understand that sometimes it's not that they're purposely disappointing you, but it's because you don't know how to place them in your life. You haven't asked what value they bring, because everyone has some sort of value, and sometimes some people have value, but it's just not for you. But just make sure you don't overstep your own boundary. They may even confide in you, and in turn you may feel like sharing, but stop. Ask yourself, do I trust this person enough to confide in them? Because many a time we got people gossiping about us and we're shocked. We are shocked. We're like, bro, I thought you was my friend. Was they though? Did you ask this? Did you see if you can trust them? You've got to vet everyone in your life. You've got to vet your friends, because a lot of people may appear fake. That's because you gave them information that they couldn't be trusted with. I've got people in my life that I can see that if I ever told you anything, you would gossip about me. However, I enjoy your company in this setting, so I don't mind having you around me. But it's just, you can never hurt me because I'll never give you the power to. You can never disappoint me because I would never put my expectations in you. However, I do really enjoy your company when we're doing this and this though. Like, trust me, I enjoy it. But other than that, that's where I draw the line. And I'm mature enough to know that. And so I hope this video really helped you understand how to place your friends correctly, how to stop allowing yourself to be disappointed, and really just become a bit more aware of people in your lives, where your friends are meant to be, how to categorize them, how to actually treat them, what you should share with them and what you shouldn't. I hope this video taught you that discretion will guard you. Stop keeping people around you just because you've known them for a long period of time. Sometimes it's time to let them go. But also sometimes it's time to just put them in another category. That person may have been your emotional support, and maybe now they've snaked you, and maybe you're thinking, oh my gosh, I never thought that you would disappoint me like this. Okay, now make this decision. Is it time to let them go, or is it time to put them in another category? Are they just going to be friends for this, or are they going to be all-rounders? Because you should have all-rounders, best friends, close friends, but then also friends for specific things. I hope this video shared some insight with you and maybe gave you a little bit of wisdom that can help you navigate your own friendships. So I thank you for watching L Talk the Real Talk, my version of a TED Talk. If you like this video, please like, comment down below, subscribe, engage with me, share this video if you think it could bless someone, and turn on your post notifications so you never miss an upload. But I will see you in my next video.